I'm Evelyn Risley with TechCrunch, and joining us today is Josh Williams, the CEO and founder of Gowalla. Thanks for joining us, Josh.
Thanks, Evelyn.
So you guys just released your API with full write capabilities. Talk to us about this milestone and why it took you guys so long.
It was something that we've really been pondering over the right way to do for a while now, and some of the delay in getting it out the door was simply due to some technical limitations, on the Gowalla platform that have now been fixed, and then some of the other delay is simply around us wanting to make sure we had our head in the right place when we rolled it out. And again, y'all have kind of had some fun with the 6 commandments of Gowalla Checkins, but we wanted to make sure that we were providing the right ecosystem for developers to be putting interesting content into the Gowalla universe.
Let's talk about these 6 commandments, as you call them. They include check in where the user actually is, never check in without permission from the user, and they go on and on. Can you talk about why you chose these 6 commandments, what they mean about the identity of Gowalla?
So I think that we wanted to be a little bit tongue-in-cheek and throwing them out there, and certainly I don't know if 6 is the final number. We may drop one or we may add one, but certainly it's a living document. But at the very least, we wanted to provide some guidelines for developers, writing in that gave them a little bit of an idea of what the character and vision of Gowalla is, specifically that of connecting real people with real places. And we wanted that to kind of come out in those guidelines. And certainly it's not meant to be a way for us or a means for us to just hammer down on the creativity of our developers, but we do want to guide it a little bit.
Now the question is, I guess, how strict are you guys going to be? And I just mentioned one of the commandments is never check in without permission from the user. And what's been in the news lately is the idea of future check-ins, that service or other services where you can automatically check into places without explicitly saying I'm checking in here, which is a way to make it easier for the user. But is that something that's going to be incompatible with Gowalla because of this commandment?
I think that the idea of checking somebody in or reducing the friction of checking in is really great. Mm-hmm. And the idea of a future check-in or basically being able to recognize that somebody is going to be at a given location or is at a given location, and in the background using that information to check in is actually really creative. Again, pursuant to let's connect the real person with the real place. The main thing is that we want developers to make it clear to the users of their applications what's going on, so that there's not like the freakish accidental check-in at a place that somebody didn't want that to be broadcast. And so I think the theme here is respecting the user, their privacy, and then just kind of being straightforward with them on how the service is being used.
I see. So you're saying that Gowalla is compatible with these services as long as it's very explicit from the get-go that as a user you understand what you're getting yourself into?
Sure, and I think, again, these are probably more guidelines than commandments right now, because I don't think we, all these services are a little bit early stage, and so we're learning a little bit as we go along. And I think our goal is just to, again, kind of spread the spirit of how we'd love to see apps written out there, and not really, outline, oh, you can do X but not Y. I don't think that's our place at this point. But again, just more guidelines that get people thinking along the right path.
Can you give us somewhat of a sneak peek for features that are coming up? I know you said that you want to reduce the friction, you want to add on features to make it more compelling for the user.
So I think the things that we're looking at both on the client and the mobile side, but also on the web side, are ways for people to interact with places beyond just simply checking in. And so again, we've talked about photos, we've hinted at the idea of video, but there's some other things as well that we're rolling out both on our website later this month and on our mobile clients that are going to give users other ways to basically share their affinity for specific places. And I can't go into that too much yet because I don't want to spoil some surprises we have coming, but it's really, really exciting.
Now, what you're talking about seems to speak to that idea of real check-ins, real connections, real people. Is that the core of the Gowalla identity? Is that a way for you to differentiate yourself from Foursquare, which allows fake check-ins? They're very much that's part of their platform. Is that what you're trying to do here? create a niche for yourself and differentiate yourself even more from the rest of the field, and namely Foursquare?
I think that the goal for us has always been, to find ways for people to share their love and their connection with real places. And again, we kind of have this metaphor of the passport, and that being a record or a log almost of the places that you've been, the places that are important to you. And we definitely see even the new features that we're building as being extensions of that. And early on, I think part of what excited me about building Gowalla was again this idea of, in the past, we have like very physical memories, places that we've been in, like actual physical passports of the stamps of the countries that I visited and the like. And I think there's a certain aspect of that we're looking to reproduce in a digital way.
Mm-hmm. Now, talking about Foursquare, I know you don't really like to compare your service that closely with Foursquare, but everyone always matches the numbers of Foursquare versus Gowalla. And right now, Foursquare is in the lead technically by the number of users. They have nearly 2 million, and you're close to around 400,000. So how do you plan to compete with Foursquare, at least when it comes to the number of users, and ramping that up in the next few months?
I think that there's certain comparisons that are always going to be made in our space just based on the fact that the services came of age in similar times, and all these new location services basically have a button that says check in, mm-hmm. and people are going to connect those lines. I think for us, the goal is to continue to build a product that plays on, again, our vision, our strengths. You've hinted at some of that about connecting, real people with real places, but also there's a design aesthetic that comes with, the product that we're building that I think has a lot of appeal to people. And as time goes on, I think we all understand that location is going to become very much a commoditized asset on the social web. So Twitter has, now a location platform. Presumably, Facebook will get into the game at some point. And I think that once that starts to happen, the nuances and the differences and the values behind all these services are going to start to become more apparent.
Mm-hmm. What's the bottom line when it comes to differentiating Gowalla? What is at the core of the nuance that makes it Gowalla, makes it different than everyone else, that you want users to understand?
So I think for us, it is about doing more than just checking in, and seeing more than just where my friends are now. And we want to inspire people to go out and share their favorite places through photos, through comments, through the highlights of their life that they've experienced. And then to discover new places by kind of layering these passports of you and your friends on top of each other. And, we have, again, this aspect of these beautifully designed passport stamps. And as we see that unfold over time, I think the kind of the long-term value proposition of Gowalla is going to become apparent.
Gotcha. Well, thanks so much, Josh. I just have one quick question. So
sure.
Has Google reached out to you about a possible takeover?
Oh, that was funny. So no, they haven't. But reading that the other day made me smile just a little bit. But no.
Well, thanks so much. Please tell us if they do.
Certainly, you'll be the first people to know.
Thanks.